In this video, the Jeep drives for the first time in 20 years.
Alright guys, so now it's time to begin phase 2 of this saving the Jeep operation. So basically what we need to do now, we got it running. It seems to run really good at idles, right up and stuff. So now we just need to get it running sustained, and then after we get that done, we can focus on getting it ready to drive. As far as getting it running, we basically just need like coolant lines and basically just a belt driven and then an alternator. That way this thing can charge itself and stay cool, and then electric fan wiring and stuff. But before we do any of that, we should probably mount the ECU permanently, and it's gonna go right on the inside of this fender. So let's get that bolted up.
So we just did the radiator overflow, got the radiator hoses in. So the radiator and all the coolant systems are all hooked up and ready to go. So now we've just been kind of doing wiring, getting everything ready and permanent.
Yeah, so at the moment, the fans we got came with this little like controller box that has a built-in relay, so that's pretty cool. I'm hooking all this stuff up right now, like just main power, main ground signal. So we're coming along really well. I think the next clip is going to be getting coolant into this thing, and then I think we're firing her up because we have an alternator belt now. We do need to do an alternator power or alternator line that goes back to the battery so we can stay charging. But I mean, guys, we're making a lot of progress now. We got to make a transmission mount too, and then drive shaft. We just measured a drive shaft. It needs to get shortened just a little bit. Take that to the shop. Probably be done in about a week, hopefully. I don't know. Cross our fingers. So far, so good. Okay, so what we're doing right now is we're kind of just trying to make another one of these, because this is what's going to bolt the our transmission mount to the crossmember on the car. So we'll have to clean up the edges here a little bit, but bandsaw's doing its thing.
Okay, so the mount's all done. We just need to weld everything up. So we got the bolts tightened really tight, and then we have this piece that will just be welded on top of them, which then gives us the spacing we need. It's a little tall, but we do need 2.5 inches of spacing, so there's really no other way around it. And then this piece would just go on top, and that'll bolt perfectly onto the transfer case cross member. It's got 2 holes already drilled in it, so it'll just bolt right up.
So there she is, all bolted up. So sweet, that looks pretty good. We got good transfer case clearance. We're all aligned there, and also drive shaft is all shortened up. Looks good. They got new U-joints, all that. We need to go pick up some yoke straps, but getting there, guys. A bit more wiring got done. I added like one of these AutoZone temp gauges. I moved the oil pressure gauge up here, and I also hooked it to the lights, so it's light up all nice and pretty. That's cool. Then up front here.
So just finishing up this heat shrink, and this will be, the fans are all wired up, and all the wires up here are pretty much final. So all we need now is to add some coolant. Okay, so after this thing's full, we'll let it sit a little bit, we'll check for leaks, and then we'll let it warm up. Okay, so what you guys didn't just see on camera is that it turns out whoever touched the engine before us had all the bolts on the lower intake manifold loose, so it let water was just pouring out onto the ground over there. So we tightened them all up, and we took all the spark plug out to make sure that we weren't gonna like hydrolock it or anything like that, or damage anything.
We just want to make sure if the intake bolts weren't tight, we didn't want any of the water passages to let air into the cylinders or the intake manifold, but I mean there would have been something. It didn't drip that much. We kind of just cut adding coolant when it started dripping, but yeah, I think we're gonna fill her up, put the plugs in, and cross our fingers. Jeez, this is an emotional roller coaster though, I swear. Alright guys, after that heart attack, we're gonna see if she starts. Should. It's pretty much clear. I think so. Cross your fingers. Alright, so right now we're doing some just general maintenance stuff, and I mean this old steering stabilizer on the CJ is literally...
It's destroyed.
It does alright coming out, but going in it does not exist. So cool, I'll get this out, get the Skyjacker guy.
Got the Skyjacker Hydro 7000.
Yeah, that's why we'll delete.
So that'll look awesome. We kind of just, we kind of just got a bunch of stuff done really quickly. The radiator is now completely done and all the cooling systems are done. We've got the two, this one doesn't look that great, but we got the super nice super cooler. That's the trans cooler, this is the engine cooler. Those are all in. We got the wiring hooked up to the alternator so that the alternator actually charges the battery now. We got a smaller K&N filter because the huge one did not fit.
Oh, show it on my Jeep.
Oh yeah, and we used it and it fits pretty well in Dan's Jeep.
Yeah, buddy, bring
And
parts.
I mean, we got the clutch pedal out, the throttle cable ready, and I mean, we just gotta finalize some of this wiring, and then we'll be able to take it for the first drive after we bleed the brakes.
She's a Jeep again, baby! Woo! So what we've done is we're trying to get everything ready for when it's going to be road legal and stuff, so we can drive it up to the gas station and stuff. So we got headlights, turn signals. So now what we're doing is we're just letting her warm up, and we're going to see if stuff like the thermostat opens and the fans turn on, but so far so good. She rolled in here, but she's going to drive out. It's game time. So, I guess the next thing we do is just start it, make sure it doesn't roll off and shoot off and destroy stuff. But if that all works, our first stop's going to be to the gas station. Yeah, we had some brake issues. We basically had to put these, like, see that little copper washer? We had to put those in between the brake, like, banjo bolts so it actually seal, because metal on metal won't work. We did that, bled the brakes again, but pretty sure she's gonna go. Just cross our fingers, take it real nice and slow. Fuel pump doing its thing. when the CJ stars align, it's a beautiful thing. Dang. I need some 35s ASAP.
That's a big difference, even though it's like only 2 inches.
General Grabber's nowhere where it's at. Sorry. But.
Okay.
Ooh. Goodbye, CJ.
Peace.
I promise I will be back soon. Those coolers actually look pretty good in there.
Yeah.
Alright, man.
The super cooler is a lot nicer.
Remember, be careful with her. She's still in developmental phases.
Safety equipment.
Look at this, like, man. Wait, how long do you think it's been since this thing has moved?
Probably at like around 20 years, definitely.
Yeah. Because the guy Eric we're doing this for, this was his high school car, and him and his grandpa would work on this thing, and they started the 350 swap or the LS swap first gen, and we're here finishing it. Just a bunch of high schoolers, so I think that's pretty cool. So, how would we give her the first drive to the gas station in 20 years, man?
Yeah, they're probably just really old.
Welcome to the nearest gas station. That was definitely a long drive.
Yeah, 20 miles an hour the whole way.
Kind of brutal, but she made it.
Not exactly happy.
Alright guys, so the first test drive went really well. It made it to the gas station and back, and that's really sweet. So the problem is we're leaking a little bit of trans fluid out of the like adapters we put just regular hoses over it. That's easy. That just probably needs some RTV or something. And then the transmission would never shift on its own. That's because it's a 4L60E and it's electronically shifted. But you need like a speedo controller. I'm gonna let Jason kind of explain this.
So the 4L60E needs a vehicle speed sensor on it, which would normally go on the transmission. But in this case, we don't have that since we have the Dana 300 attached, where the speed sensor would normally be. So what we got is this, which is, it's kind of like an extender for the speedo, so the speedo cable just goes straight through it. But then there's also a gear here, which will then give the electrical signal through this wire down to the VSS, which will tell the transmission like when to shift. So it was a pretty simple solution for what we thought was a much bigger problem.
Man, that thing is so sick. I really want to put 35s on my CJ. That thing is massive.
Okay guys, thanks for watching. So this thing, it's okay. We got a lot of work done with it. We really got the engine running and the transmission shifting, kind of. But we're about to go off to college, and the owner of this really wants it back in Arizona. So we've done all we can with this.
Yeah. So cool, guys. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the little mini build series we did. We basically just got this project back on the road after like 20 years, which is really something. I mean, it's so cool when you just get an old project back on the road, an old Jeep that'd probably sit for another 20 years, you know? So, cool. We had fun with her, but she'll have a lot more fun in Arizona. The guy lives like 20 minutes from Moab, so I'm jealous, but this thing's gonna, hopefully maybe we can get some footage of when he gets it and stuff and put it in the end of this, so cool.